Posted Gloves here, and today we are going to talk about the Fruity XY controller. And it's just a basic controller. So it's an XY. You can link up 2 parameters to it, and it will control them for you. So if we have a synthesizer like Harmor, and we want the XY, so we could link this to controller. I've done this before, so right click, I'm going to link the filter cutoff to controller X, and I'm going to accept that, and I'm going to link the pluck link to controller. I'm going to link that to controller Y, internal controller. And so you just right click whatever you want, go to link to controller, and select the controller you want, and you should be set to go on that side of things. And you can move this around, and I like this has some interesting options as far as smoothing. You have extreme control in that regard over how fast this dot moves to its location. Now I'm going to turn Harmor down. So that's what we've got going on here is these things move around as this dot moves around. And so we have this XY. So on X, this is our X value. So as you see, it controls just the frequency. And this is our Y. And of course, you can link up multiple things to this. There's no rule that says you can only have one. And you can have a minimum value of X. So let's say we want X to minimum be that. And you'll see that it will now modulate between those two. But I want X to be able to go all the way. So as you can see here, all the way. Now this tension is similar to, you see how the knob reacts? It's acting on tension. So as we reach a middle value, it increases. So as it reaches, let's do this. Let's make it a really slow acceleration. You can see as it gets closer, it goes zoop, and so that's tension. It affects how close. Let me just do this. Create automation clip. There it is. This right here, that's tension. It's essentially doing this as if it were an automation clip. So that's a pretty nifty option. You can do that. Now, on the other option, so that's X. If you switch to Y, you could do a whole separate thing for Y. You can control the speed at which this dot moves. You can make it really fast, essentially like a 1-to-1, like immediately. We can make it super ridiculously slow. Maybe you want something that moves at a really steady pace. And with a very simple automation movement, you could trigger. So instead of drawing out an automation curve that's like 30 bars long, you could write a simple half a bar one, and it would be the same thing. So that's one big plus I could see going for this. And you can manipulate this as you're going too. So you could just do some really interesting things in that regard. You could change the rate of acceleration as it gets closer to the point. How fast it accelerates to the point, especially on a direction turn. And so this is really nice, especially for a touchscreen controller. And then you can set it up to be controlled by your mouse like this, or you can set it up to behave with the joystick. And you have all these extra options here that I have never touched in my life, so I have no idea what they do. But this is the speed at which it responds to that joystick. And so that's my extensive knowledge here. If you have more extensive knowledge on setting up the joystick and doing stuff like that, you can. I can show you how to set it up to some knobs on your controller. So I have a controller in front of me. And let's say I want to play, but I also want to have the knobs I've got here. I don't have a joystick, so I can't move up and down like this one is set up to do. So, but I can control the level of X and Y. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave X's tension on. There we go. Got it. I don't know why I was going up there. So we have, okay, so what did I do? You right click. You go to override generic link, and voila, it controls the thing. Now we've got, oops, I use the same knob for both. I want a different one for X for this one. So I'm going to override generic link, and we have a controller. So now see, I probably want my speed to be a little slower and the acceleration to be. And my tension will start to behave too. And as you can see, you create some really nice, very smooth movements. I'm going to take the tension down because I did not like the way it responded like that. So now it's a linear thing as opposed to that. As you can see, it moves back. Now it's really obvious what it's doing. I could even set up a third knob to do that. I just right click, override generic link, and it will do that for your controller. So that's that. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments, subscribe, and have a blessed day.
Opposing wolves. Reversing.